Welcome to the She Makes Africa podcast, powered by the AWEC Alumni Network. Across Africa, women entrepreneurs are driving the continent's growth, making up 58% of Africa's business founders. Yet the journey of entrepreneurship is often a path filled with both triumphs and trials. It can be a lonely road, but women are rising above these challenges, building resilience, and turning struggles into success. In this podcast, we bring you inspiring stories from African women entrepreneurs who are paving the way for others. Join us over the next 15 to 20 minutes as we explore their journeys of perseverance, growth, and empowerment. We hope their stories ignite your passion and encourage you to keep pushing forward.
Hi, so welcome to this episode of the She Makes Africa podcast. My name is Priska Mofunde. I'm an alum of the AWEC Fellowship Program, and I'm based in Harare, Zimbabwe.
My name is Frida Muyambo. I run a consultancy called Hulu Consulting. I'm based in Harare, Zimbabwe as well, and I am from cohort 2.
Today, we have a very special guest from the AWEC community. We have invited her to share specifically about how she survived and is thriving through the challenges of running her business. Kunbi, please introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about your business and what led you to become an entrepreneur.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Kunbi Osinoiki, and I run a music school in Lagos in Nigeria. And it's a hybrid music school, so we teach both online and in person. And I became an entrepreneur because I wanted to be a present mom. And I giggle and I laugh because I think it's the complete opposite to that, which I found out in time. Yes, I became an entrepreneur when my son was 3. And I had read an article a few years beforehand while I was pregnant with him about the importance of music in raising children. And I really, really wanted to be one of those moms that went to baby groups and, took my kids to all these different activities. But I had a full-time job. I was working in IT as an IT consultant and project management at the time. And so there was no way that my schedule would permit such frivolities. So it was my husband's job change that created an opportunity for me to look for work in a new city that we're moving to. And I was lucky enough to come across an advert asking for people to join this business that was providing music lessons to kiddies. So I thought, oh, wow, not only do I get, to be involved musically with my son, but I can actually make this, a livelihood as well. So I packed in my consultant job to the horror of my boss at the time, who just was shocked at the thought of me leaving a lucrative consulting career to go sing nursery rhymes. And the rest, they say, is history. So I thought that running a business would give me the flexibility to be present with my son. And I really had this thing in my head about when my kids go to school, I want to be the one to drop them off, and I want to be the one to pick them up at the end of the day. And that overrode everything else. And this opportunities, this job, this business looked like it was going to give me the opportunity to do that. So that's how I got into business.
All right. Now, I can resonate with so much of your story because my journey also started because of children. And I laughed when you laughed because I thought it was me creating more time, only to realize that, no, you run a lot harder, you work a lot faster. You do have more flexibility and say over when you do certain things, but it is a lot more work, definitely.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
So, Kunbi, I wonder if you could share a little bit about your AWEC journey. What would you say are the 2 top things you learned on the program that have significantly impacted your business?
Wow, I'm not sure I can whittle it down to 2, but I'll try. I think one of the things that resonated very quickly with me was the fact that I was not alone. And I joined AWEC just as lockdown was being announced. And I remember the panic because lockdown was being announced in my city at the same time as I got my acceptance letter to AWEC. And I sort of looked at the AWEC email and said, please let us know if you'd like to take up this position, this opportunity. And I was almost like, there's no way I'm going to be wanting to effectively do a mini MBA with all this crisis going on. And I thought, it's the last thing I need is, to try to meet deadlines and all sorts of things. And I was very, very close to saying no to AWEC. But I am so glad that I gave myself permission to fail. And so I said, listen, give it a go. And if it's not working out, you can always drop out, And so that's what I did. And then I realized that actually I was in good company, because here I was in a community with 200 other women, all of us trying to figure out what the heck is this? None of us had lived through a pandemic before. And we all had to try and figure out creative ways to keep our businesses afloat. And it was the best company that I could have asked for at that point in time. So AWEC saved my sanity because I didn't have to try and work everything out myself. I was able to, speak to my mentor, speak to my peers. When I submitted assignments, I got fantastic feedback from lots of women. On different ideas that we had about how do we keep this thing going. And it was just amazing. So that was that. The other thing I picked up from AWEC was just how good it is to read. I've always loved books, but I kind of fell out of the habit, in the process of child rearing and trying to run my business and everything else. I really wasn't spending time reading hardly at all. And we had our first session, and I forget his name, but the guy from Google came and talked to us about the importance of, being visible online and everything else. And he recommended a book, which is about how brands grow. And it was the first book I bought from the AWEC program. I ordered it even before that session was over. I just quickly went online and placed an order, and it arrived like within a week. And it changed my life, basically, because it really just started to challenge a lot of beliefs I had, very limiting beliefs on, what it meant to be visible online and all of that kind of thing. And it really just helped me to raise my game in that respect. And I just thought, my goodness, there's all these nuggets of information sitting in books from people who have walked the way, people who have, battled the same things that I'm battling, and they have found a resolution that works for them. And I thought, I really need to be reading more. And I just got into the habit. And I think during the AWEC program, I read upwards of 12, 15 books in that 1 year alone. And it led to us, starting the AWEC book club, because it was like, gosh, there's so much that we're learning. And I think being in lockdown also helped, because it just meant that, what do? You had work, everything you did was online. You didn't have to travel anywhere. So that was, there were pockets of time that you could dedicate to reading. And I'm really, really grateful for that. I've tried to keep it up, not to the same level of intensity, but I really do enjoy a good book, and not necessarily just fiction, as in, I mean, business, books or biographies or whatever, just things that kind of feed my imagination and helps me to have faith for what is possible. When I read all these incredible stories of what people are doing across the world, it's really inspiring. So yeah.
Hi, Kunbi.
Hello, Frida. How are you?
Hi, I am good. I mean,
Good.
I was just listening to you and thinking, when you said, yeah, I was almost not going to apply for AWEC, and I was thinking, what would this sisterhood be without you?
Oh.
Because I remember when the book club came in, I remember all that. Really, truly, truly amazing initiatives. And you know what? It's the community now, where we are a community of 1,200 women.
I know,
as
it's
of
crazy.
2024, and
Yes.
representing so many industries and countries across the board. Like, there's people in medical, there's people in physio, there's people in highly specialized industries, and there's people doing something that is creative, like you, inspiring music in the next generation. But one thing we have realized from being part of this network is that the challenges we face as female entrepreneurs and our journeys share common threads. This makes our stories powerful tools for encouraging and inspiring others. Can you share your story of surviving and thriving through a major business challenge that happened. What happened and why, and how critical did it get? Where are you now, and how did you get there?
Okay, how long have you got? I mean, I could easily talk about COVID because obviously that was a difficult challenge, but even pre-COVID, I did face a quite a significant challenge where I had been running my business in Nigeria for about 3 years. And I suddenly and unexpectedly found myself in a family situation that needed me to leave the country and move abroad for a season. And I my business was really just starting to take off at the time, and I had just put in place a team. I think I had about five teachers at the time, and I was like, well, there's no way. This was pre-COVID, so at least 4 years, 2016, so 4 years before COVID. And so I was like, okay, there's just no way that I'm going to be able to run this thing. And I called a team meeting and I told my guys, I'm so sorry, but family situation demands that we're moving out of the country, and so I'm not going to be able to keep this going. I'm so sorry. Everybody's going to get paid, and we're going to shut down.
Coming up next.
My husband and I went into debt, and I was skeptical, and I think they felt that I was sitting on heaps of money somewhere. I really don't know. And in that year, our turnover grew by 50%.
More after the break. This is the She Makes Africa podcast, brought to you by the AWEC Alumni Network. We are here to build a community for African women entrepreneurs. If you have a story to tell, share it with us. Also, if you know a sister who could benefit from the AWEC program, encourage her to sign up and make a difference. Subscribe to our podcast on YouTube or on Spotify for podcasters if you would like to help us expand our reach. Like, share, comment. Thank you for listening.
I'm so sorry. Everybody's going to get paid, and we're going to shut down. And my team said, "Oh my goodness, no, madam, you don't need to do that. We will keep the business going." And I was skeptical, but they were very adamant that they wanted to. They felt that they could do it, and so I let them. And in that year, our turnover grew by 50%. So it was amazing. I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." And I thought, oh, I should go away more. Clearly, I was a hindrance, and I was, quite pleased that the business actually thrived, when I wasn't physically, present. And then the following year, to commemorate Lagos at 50, my city turned 50 years old, and I put on a massive children's festival, got 300 kids involved from different schools across the state. And we told the story of the state through song and drama, and it was amazing. And this same team kind of, helped with that. Now, it was very challenging to do that particular project because we had pinned our hopes on funding from certain sources that never fully materialized. And so my husband and I went into debt to fund this pipe dream of mine. And for me, it was quite a personal project because it was also my way of saying farewell to my father, because he'd passed a few months earlier. And he was a very proud, citizen of Lagos State. And it was kind of like my way of working through my grief. And I just felt I had to do this for lots of different reasons. And anyway, I think in the course of that, I think my team started to get ideas. And I think they felt that I was sitting on heaps of money somewhere. I really don't know what happened, but the attitude changed dramatically. And I was informed one day that they no longer want to be employed. They want to be self-employed. They want to be independent contractors, contracted to my company, and that they they demanded a 75% take of revenues, and I will be paid 25%. I can keep 25% for my own, upkeep. And they demanded that I sacked my administrator, sacked the driver, shut down the office, that they didn't need a physical office, and they were just trying to stage a coup, basically. And I was like really taken aback. I was like, where did all of this come from? And I remember having hours and hours of meetings with their ringleader, just trying to work out what exactly is going on. The business is not liquid the way you think it is, and all of that. But it was, clearly falling on deaf ears. And we tried lots of different things. My husband, who is in HR consulting, he happened to be in the country around the time. So he had a very long meeting with the guys, the main person who was instigating this. We offered him a place on the board. We offered him, we're going to open up our books and you can see everything that's going on. And, we can try and work something out on a commission basis, whatever. And it was very adamant that it was their way or the highway, and we couldn't make it work. And so the talks broke down. And the last thing that they said to me was, we're going to shut you down. And they staged a walkout.
Wow.
Yeah. They staged a walkout. And I had to call, all my clients to say, I'm so sorry, but we're in a real dilemma. And my team are leaving, all of them at once. I think one of them stayed, and I'm really grateful to him because, he kind of like, oh, I'll give you 3 months, whatever. But everybody else left. So I had to call my clients, and I was quite shocked at the number of them that said, oh yeah, we knew they were planning to leave. And yes, we will be going with them. I was like, and others that said, yeah. They told me they were leaving, but there's no way. I'm going to wait until you're ready. I'm not going with them. So it was 50-50. They, took half of my clients left.
Wow.
And yeah, it was crazy. And I remember being in such a panic, and I just felt sick to my stomach. And I was just like, I don't even know where to start from. And I remember thinking, I'm going to have to borrow more money to catch a flight to go out to Lagos to do the recruitment and everything else. And my husband was like, up until that point, he had this mindset that I was running a charity. And, he's had to bail us out quite a few times in the preceding years. And he was like, I was honestly expecting him to say, I told you so. And thank God I'm going to get my wife back, and I was expecting him to say, oh, well, that, you did your best. Never mind, let's go on to the next thing. And he was furious. It was a total opposite. He was fuming, and he was like my rock. And he said, nobody is shutting you down. He says, when you're done, you will close your business in a way and a time that you choose. You are not going to be shut down by some whippersnappers. And that was exactly his. And he was like, and I was like, okay, well, I need to go. I need to go and recruit. I need to catch a flight. And he said, nope, you're going to do everything from here. He said, isn't there Zoom? Remember, this was 4 years before COVID. So I wasn't an online person at that point in my life, and I couldn't imagine conducting interviews online. But he said, we're gonna draw on our support system, get your sister involved, and at that point in time, I had a wonderful lady in my life who was very supportive of everything we did. And she came to the concerts that we did. She helped us to raise some of the funding for that event. And he said, why don't you ask her to help you with the interviews? She's got a good head for music. She knows exactly, what to look for. And that's what we did. We advertised, and the interviews were conducted, in person with my sister and this other lady present, and I was online on Zoom listening in on everything. And we recruited on the back of that, and managed to keep hobbling along with the few clients that stayed with us. And over time, we managed to not just get back up to where we were before, but we've exceeded that. And it's been a crazy time, and I honestly didn't think that there was any comeback from that. But thanks to people who had stronger faith than I did, and certainly my husband, we're here today.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it sounds like a very rare situation, but I can tell you a similar story of when I was leaving Nigeria and my team said, we can carry this on. And yeah, I had to shut down. So that was a incredibly, what an experience. I mean, and I experienced Kumbi's kids. I experienced Kumbi's music, with my 1-year-old who happened to just walk into the room just now. But he's not one anymore, he's 9.
No.
But like on reflection, do you think there's anything from the AWEC program that or the community that you think you can apply to that situation? I know, this all of this happened before your journey, but like
Yes.
what's your takeaway from that? And yeah.
Okay, so one thing that AWEC taught me was systems, because that minimizes your key man dependency risks. And you need to get everything down on, document everything. Don't allow people to amass business critical information in their heads. Okay. Have a database of your clients, keep a record of every lesson, keep a record of every interaction with every parent, with every client. So that if somebody, God forbid, fell seriously ill, for example, it may not even be a coup d'etat. It could be, health reasons or whatever, that you are not left in a bind. And I think, the rigor that, AWEC insisted on in terms of, having financial systems in place, your record keeping, your customer database, and all of that was so important. I'm still not where I'd like to be. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm absolutely perfect. And I still haven't managed to document, like everyone's got standard operating procedures. Mine is haphazard in terms of we keep innovating and changing the way we do things, but at least there is a system in place. And it's so much easier now to onboard people. And it's so much easier. I've had, like my key administrator who was with me for over 10 years. When she eventually moved on, I was able to bring somebody else on board without any major disasters happening, because we had systems in place for everything. And so that's definitely one thing that AWEC taught me. And I think if I had systems in place before this whole situation, it wouldn't have been as traumatic. And I didn't realize just how just how much of a security, because it helps you understand your business as well. You know where the pain points are. Yeah, you just know how how to where to go for information on the history of a conversation with a particular person or the history of a particular student. I've got student records going back to 2016. I don't throw anything away. And from that period in time, I make sure that we document everything. And so we're able to pass information relatively seamlessly, either to new team members or within the team.
Welcome, because I was listening to that, I had goosebumps, because the horror of working so hard as an entrepreneur and then losing not just staff but clients, and to have clients know that this is going on behind your back is just, that's heartbreaking. So kudos to you for rising above it and coming back stronger, because I think that's what sets entrepreneurs apart from everyone else. We get up and you keep going, you look for a way, and that support is so crucial to the process.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to know your why. I knew why I was doing this, and so it didn't matter whether I was going to do it on a big platform or a small platform. It really didn't matter if I had 10,000 students or one. My why was what was driving me. My unshakable belief in the power of well-structured music education to transform lives. And so yes, if I didn't have this bunch of people to do it, I'll do it on my own, or I'll find other people who will come on the journey. But I couldn't get away from the why. Do you understand? And so if you know your why, then it's easier. You're more rooted, and it's more difficult to shake you. You can You can experience bumps along the way, but you'll always get up again because your why will keep you going. It's like kind of like your motivate. It's like your fuel, isn't it?
Very true. Yeah, definitely. It's that fire that keeps burning under your feet, keeps you moving. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So community, we have heard it. Kunbi has shared her story of how she not only survived, but thrived through a business challenge. And today she and her business are more resilient and better poised to face the storms that are part of running a business. Thank you so much, Kunbi, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Kunbi. Yeah, no, thank you indeed. And this indeed is a special episode because we're all a part of the community building segment of the AWEC Alumni Network. So really, thank you for sharing your story. This was riveting. But back to our audience, you guys listening out there in cyberspace, wherever you are, what is our key takeaway from this podcast? Leave us a message in the comments section. Let us know what action you have been inspired to take in your personal life or in your business to safeguard you from mutiny and, just to make sure you have systems in place. Once again, thank you very much for joining the She Makes Africa podcast, brought to you through the efforts of the AWEC Alumni Network. Until next time, let's collaborate